Good morrow, kind people, and thank you for watching this video. I am going to read another story from my book, which is called Good Gracious, which is available on Amazon. I've got to get that in, otherwise they'll never sell any. Right, this story is called The Arkengarth Miracle. Michael looked up as Debbie entered the office. "Thanks for coming, Debs. I've got a little job for you. It's a bit different, and you might need Willow and Bob with you." "A big job, then?" Debbie frowned. "Not really," said Michael, "but I think it needs your sort of touch and Willow's persuasion. It's a lost soul, or not exactly lost, but not listening to the summons. We need to sort it out for Peter's sake. You know he hates his books not balancing." "Oh," said Debbie, "I'll get hold of Bob and Willow, and we'll take a look. What's the location?" "Arkengarth Dale, a small holding near a village called War. It's completely cut off in winter and pretty isolated the rest of the year. The lady lived alone with her dogs and a few animals. She died a week ago, and Peter's got her as a no-show." "Arkengarth Dale's where Agnes's sister lives, isn't it? Have you told her? She might be able to help." "You're right about her sister, but Agnes is a bit busy, so I didn't want to bother her if we don't need to. Himself is going on holiday again next week, so Agnes will be standing in. If there's a problem we can ask, but have a look yourself first." Bob, Willow and Debbie materialized in a small, neat farmyard. Chickens clucked contentedly in a small enclosure. A cow mooed at them from a paddock, and two border collies ran out of the shed past an old tractor. The dogs pulled up sharply at the sight of the strangers and looked towards the open door to the cottage. Debbie led the way indoors. A little old lady was sitting in an armchair looking towards the door. "Hello, Nora," said Debbie. "We've come to take you to heaven. Don't be afraid, we're here to help." "Thank you," said Nora, "but I can't leave just yet. With the animals, they need me, even though I can't do anything anymore. That's a nuisance, you know, dear, not being able to bring the feed or open the gates." "How have you managed then?" asked Debbie. "The animals all look well fed and content." "Oh, that's down to these two," said Nora, pointing to the two dogs. "Bill and Ben have been marvellous. They've opened doors and gates, closed gates as well, and dragged the feed for the cow, the chickens and the pigs. But we'll run out of things in a few days. There've been no visitors for weeks, and I don't quite know what to do." "Leave it to us," said Debbie. "I've got an idea. When did you last see the vicar?" "Reverend Bloom. He's down at Grinton at St. Andrews. He doesn't come up here very often. And it must have been Easter the last time I went down there." "Well, we'll go down there and stir his conscience and his memory a bit. But first we're escorting you to meet St. Peter and put his books right." The Reverend Bloom was tending his delphiniums when he suddenly thought of the more far-flung corners of his parish. "Old Mrs. Braithwaite," he thought. "I haven't seen her since Easter. I must pay her a visit. I've got a couple of hours before the Virgin comes to talk about the bins. I can go right now." 2 hours later, a small group of men, summoned by the vicar, stood in the farmyard. Tom Hennessy, who farmed next door, stood regarding the buildings and animals. "Well, I think it's a ruddy miracle, beg pardon, vicar, but it does look like these two dogs have run the place for a week on their own. Doc says at least a week, and there's no one else been here. Aye, we've got a miracle on our hands." "Maybe and maybe not," said Alf Trimble. "But if you're right about the dogs, that's greatly done and no mistake." Tom turned to the vicar. "Well, Reverend, we know she left everything to the church, so I reckon it's on you to decide who looks after the dogs and other beasts. I'm handy, so I can keep an eye on it for a while. But how about this miracle? Do we tell the Darton and Stockton Times or the radio people?" Debbie silently crossed her fingers and thought hard at the vicar. "Thank you for your kindness, Tom," he said. "I'm of a mind, if you want them, to let you take the dogs, the chickens and the pigs. Alf, will you take the cow? Of course the farm will have to go on the market in the usual way. Now, as for the miracle, I think we should keep that to ourselves. We have to respect Nora's memory, and after all, we don't want Arkengarth Dale overrun with reporters and camerons, do we?" Debbie breathed a sigh of relief, and Willow wagged her tail. Hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, there's a book full of them, and it's available on Amazon.